Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are doing the Leviathan, kind of finishing off the last of the 4 bosses for the Desert Treasure 2 bosses. Without further ado, we'll just jump right into it. We'll go into gear, go into strategies, blah blah blah. Hopefully you guys by now kind of know the process. So it's pretty simple. I'm pretty much wearing full blessed D-hide, my blessing, Amligori backpack, Barrow's gloves, the new ring of shadows because it has the same range bonus as an archer's ring, not imbued. If you have an imbued archer's ring, you can just wear that instead. I just did this because it's free. And I'm using a crystal bow. Crystal bow is actually really pretty good here. It's a really good weapon. In terms of inventory, it's also pretty simple. I have a mage weapon switch just so I can auto cast shadow spells because you do kind of need it during the fight. I have a ranging pot. I have a divine one, but you could just use a regular one too. It's not that big of a deal. I have 2 stamina potions because there is a bit of running in the quest, and then it's just a bunch of supplies. I have a teleport tablet just to get out in case I need to. It is worth noting, very important to know, that there, as far as I could tell, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I can tell, once you're in the room with the Leviathan, there's no like doorway or staircase or anything to let you out of that room like most other bosses. You're kind of just stuck there. Unless you die or teleport out, you're just stuck at the boss. So make sure you bring a teleport. Like, it's not even recommended. It's just like a requirement, in my opinion. And then obviously bring a rune pouch with runes so you can cast your best shadow spell. That's pretty much it. It's not complicated in terms of gear and requirements and stuff. In terms of the setup, this is pretty much my setup. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, the best way to beat Leviathan is you kind of have to already have a game plan on what you're gonna do for the entire fight in order to like successfully kill him, if that makes sense. So I'm actually gonna do this guide slightly different from how I did the other 3 Desert Treasure 2 boss guides, just because of how mechanically intensive the Leviathan fight can be essentially, and how quick it can be too. I'm not confident that I can do the typical talking over my gameplay as efficiently as I did in my last 3 bosses. So what I'm basically going to do is that I'm going to still talk while I'm fighting, but it's going to be over the course of multiple attempts, so that way I can show you like different segments of the fight and how I like to approach it. And while doing so, I can more properly explain these tiles that I have down, essentially. Okay, I'll go ahead and leave these tiles that I have in the description down below for anybody who would like it. Speaking of the tiles, I want to give a big shout out to this guy right here, Zara Osrs. He made a really good video that I kind of used as the basis towards learning the Leviathan. This one right here is where I got some of the tiles from. I kind of adjust them a little bit to fit me. This was my basis towards learning the Leviathan, and it did, honestly, it's better than most other guides that I see out there. There's no voiceover, there's no talk in the video, it's just gameplay, and all his instructions are in the description, so it took me a little bit to kind of decipher. So that's kind of where I fill in. I'm kind of giving you guys my experiences, kind of what to avoid, what not to avoid, kind of what things that I learned as I was learning the boss and stuff, and kind of explaining his tiles and stuff as well too. So I can't take all the credit. He or she deserves some love too, so it'd be really nice if you could go over to his video and just tell him thank you, maybe even tell him that I sent you over there as well. I think that'd be pretty dope. Everyone in the community should share some love. All right, so let's get started. Starting off, I'm just going to show you the first section of the fight, basically up to like the first stun. Oh, real quick before I start, I do want to point out that having a spec weapon does help for this fight. You pretty much save your spec weapon for the enrage phase at the very end. However, I highly recommend that if you're just learning the boss, don't even bother bringing a spec weapon. Don't even like think about it. The boss is way easier to learn if you just do the fight normally and not have to worry about your spec bar, basically. Once you get comfortable with the boss, then you could probably bring a spec weapon at that point, but just starting off, I wouldn't even bother. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna set up my quick prayers. It doesn't really matter if you pray ranged or mage at the beginning. The Leviathan seems to always just kind of start off on whatever he wants. I have rigor enabled though, so just do whatever your best range prayer is. If it happens to be Eagle Eye, use Eagle Eye. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and pot up. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to eat up real quick. There we go. Turn it on, stand here. Now, these yellow tiles that I have highlighted right here, okay, in between his basic attacks, he only does range and mage, and then every once in a while he'll also do melee. Okay, so you kind of have to practice switching between all three. During this, he'll do a rock thing, a rock throw, every once in a while in between his basic attacks. Whoops, I got this switch. Every time he does the rock throw, he leaves a rock behind, in which case you need to step away. My strategy is I usually leave about 4 rocks behind at the beginning before I stun him. How do you stun him? You stun him with shadow spells. That's why we have the mage switch. I'm gonna go ahead and let him do one more rock. So you can see, he speeds up every time. So what I recommend is if you find that he's going a little too fast for you, go ahead and, it's gonna take some practice, but you're gonna have to figure out what speed is too fast for you, and you're gonna have to shadow him before he reaches that speed. So coming up right here, this is the speed. That's like, this is my limit. Anything past this speed for me personally, I don't feel confident in. So this is when I go for the freeze. When you do the freeze, you have to go to his backside and you have to shoot him. When you shoot him, he has one of 2 special attacks that he does. If he does the boulders, you basically just walk in a straight line, and they have to hide behind the boulders because he'll have a shockwave immediately afterwards, and it does a ton of damage. Okay. After you do that, you basically just repeat doing the basic attacks again. You do the same strategy. As long as you stand in these yellow tiles that I have marked for you, you should be okay. Okay, I kind of made it easier for you guys and kind of already strategically planning where they should go, so that way they're out of your way during the enraged phase. Okay, so he's about to reach the speed again. Every time you stun him, he starts at his speed is a tick slower than what it was the last time you stunned him. Okay, so this is where he's going to start his second special attack. I highly recommend that you start on the side that he's not turning. Okay, from here you can use the tiles that I have indicated to kind of skip in between them and run to the next one. Hit, run to the other one. You don't want to stay on the tile longer than like a tick when you're attacking. If you do this, you can actually skip the lightning and not take any damage while still getting DPS in. It's kind of like a Wook's walk for Vorkat, but for the Leviathan. And then from here on out, it's basically just a repeat everything until you reach the enrage phase. Okay, we're in the enrage phase now. During the enrage phase, you're going to need to stay in this white orb. This white orb reduces all the chip damage that you would take otherwise, as well as it makes the accuracy of your weapon. Ooh, that was close. Let me tap out real quick. It makes the accuracy of your weapon pretty much guaranteed, as well as it heavily amplifies any damage output that your weapon does as well. So the common strategy that people will use is that they'll bring some sort of spec weapon, and any spec that you do inside that little like cotton ball orb, it's just heavily amplified, and it does a lot of damage, and it helps end the fight like a lot quicker. Now that I've shown you guys pretty much all the mechanics of the fight, it really just comes down to practice. Setting up the boulders is probably one of the biggest things about the fight. Between trying to set up the boulders, getting used to the quick prayer switching, as well as some of the special attacks, it's really just simply a fact of just getting practice in, finding out where exactly you like to stand, and just getting a little better at it. It's like any other boss. The best way to learn is just to simply practice. Now that I've shown you guys all the mechanics and stuff, though, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a full kill using the same gear that I actually did in my live streams. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or even useful tips to give to other players, or even myself as well, go ahead and leave a comment down below for everyone to see. I'm pretty sure everyone would appreciate the help. So I think you just start. He starts off using the opposite, whatever it is you're playing. Or not what I think. Bro, what? So annoying. Yeah, this is a lot better. I'm landing more hits. Okay, here it is. Magic short bow time. Let's go. Let's go. Bro, this is rough. Bro. Hey, we did it! Oh my god, that would have killed me.
Collection log slot completed.
Hey, we got the teleport too! Let's fucking go. Finally, I don't have to lug around the eye anymore. Oh, let me get out of here before he comes back. Hell yeah.